Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Starkey Formstead. So, look, as you pop on, you guys already know the routine. Please hit the like button, drop your name in chat. Let me know where you're watching from. Folks, we have to talk. So, I ran across a scientific article that kind of blew my mind. Okay, so we've all heard of androchrome or androchrome, however you want to pronounce it. And we know the rumors behind it. Hi, sweetheart. But it's real. And like maybe I didn't know that. I just assumed it was something that was in a conspiracy, but I did not realize that it's an actual thing. And they have been studying it since the 1950s. Something else I was unaware of are all of these politicians and movie stars and people in the public eye who have been getting black eyes, but especially the right eye. Now, don't turn me off and think I'm fixing to talk about something that I can't put a story together because I can. And the first thing that I found was androchrome deposits in the cornea or the cornea. Okay. And it's called black cornea. Now, this is a National Library of Medicine article on PubMed and it's a government site. So it is the government has done the research on this. Now they claim that a case of black cornea occurred 6 years after commencement of a therapy with adrenaline derivative eye drops. Okay, so if you don't know what androchrome is, let me give you a little bit of a background. And I may be mispronouncing that. You guys just love me for who I am, okay? It is a chemical compound produced by the oxidation of adrenaline. That is the official terminology. And I told my husband, imagine fight or flight is how this is created in your body, in your adrenal gland. And it is basically adrenaline because you're afraid or you're fleeing or you're fighting for your life. And as I was sitting at Sonic eating lunch with my husband and we're talking, it made me think about something I saw through Stephen King, who recently did a sequel to one of his bestsellers, and it's called Doctor Sleep. Okay. Now, in the book and in the movie, there are like these vampires that hunt children. And one of the things that they do is they torture and scare these children so bad so they can suck this essence out of them to remain young and healthy. Now, why I never put those two things together, who knows? But horror and science fiction is closer to real life than I think people realize. Okay, so Boo Dog said adrenochrome. Adrenochrome. I got it. Okay, so Call Me Allie said, I went down this rabbit hole years ago. I never have. Hi, Leslie. I never have, folks. I've heard of it repeatedly. But again, let me explain something to you. This is a real chemical, and it can be synthetic or it can be real. So I was reading something to my husband in the vehicle, and I said, Stephen, let me ask you this. I said, if I tell you that this chemical has been being studied since the 1950s, yet they say it has no current medical application, what would you say? And my husband said, no, I've heard of it, Kim. I just didn't realize it was an actual chemical that they have been studying and synthesizing since the 50s. Okay. I thought it was something the body produced, and that was the end of it. I did not realize that scientists have been studying this for years, folks, since the 1950s. And my husband was like, well, I would tell you that the military and the government knows exactly how to use this, and they're just letting the public sector play with it to see if they come up with anything new. I said, but it literally says they have no current medical application for this chemical, right? Adrenochrome. They have no use for this chemical compound, which is oxidated adrenaline or human-made epinephrine. So again, why are they studying it? if it's got no reason and no actual uses, why is it being studied? Hey, Renee, how is your dog doing, Renee? Renee has a Dogo Argentina that she rescued, a little female that's growing so quickly. Her little heart is having trouble, like, adjusting to the growth of the Dogo Argentina. And she sent me the saddest little picture, but keep me updated on her. It says several small case studies involving 15 or fewer test subjects conducted in the 1950s and the 1960s reported that adrenochrome triggered psychotic reactions such as thought disorders and derealization. Okay, so derealization is an alteration in the perception of the external world, causing those with the condition to perceive it as unreal, distant, distorted, or in other words, falsified. Other symptoms include feeling as if one's environment is lacking in spontaneity. Yes, please, everybody hit the like button so we can get more people in on this live to hear about this. So it goes on to say that the treatment of schizophrenia with such potent antioxidants is highly contested. In 1973, the American Psychiatric Association reported methodological flaws in Hoffer's work on Nacine as a schizophrenia treatment and referred to follow-up studies that did not confirm any benefits of the treatment. Multiple additional studies in the US, Canada, and Australia similarly failed to find benefits of megavitamin therapy to treat schizophrenia or the use of Adrenochrome. Okay, so now in popular culture, this chemical has been spoken about in a 1954 book called The Doors of Perception. It mentioned the discovery and the alleged effects of adrenochrome, which he linked to the symptoms of mescaline intoxication, even though the author had never, ever consumed it in any way. Anthony Burgess mentions adrenochrome as Drenchrome at the beginning of his 1962 novel, A Clockwork Orange. Oh, a good deal. Renee said that her dog has figured out that she can run because she's having less passing out episodes, and she knows when she's on an uptick in growth by how many times her puppy is passing out. Well, just keep me posted, Renee. The protagonist and his friends are drinking drug-laced milk in this book, A Clockwork Orange. Moving on, in 1971, the book Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas again discusses adrenochrome. Moving on, in the first episode of the ITV series Lewis, Whom the Gods Would Destroy, the motive for the crimes was that the prostitute had been killed years previously to harvest her adrenal glands. It is also mentioned in the novel The Talent of Horus, written in 2014, and it is the subject of several far-right conspiracy theories, along with QAnon and Pizzagate, with the chemical helping the theories play a similar role to earlier blood libel and satanic ritual abuse stories. Excuse me. They're trying to say that we believe that this is considered the elixir of youth. Now, in reality, adrenochrome has been produced by organic synthesis since 1952. It is synthesized by biotechnology companies for research purposes and has no medical or recreational use. So again, what is going on? If it has no medical or recreational use, then why are biotech companies not only studying it in its real form, in its organic form, but in its synthesis form? Now, moving back to my original title of this video, The Black Eye Club. So as I began to dig around, I realized that people who are using eye drops that have adrenochrome in them sometimes are getting a black cornea. Now, the cornea is the inside part of your eye. So the eye is blackened. Okay. Now, recently, I don't know how much you guys get on X or any of that. A lot of movie stars are getting those. See the black eye? You guys see that? Look at that. The whole eye is black. Now, some of them, most of them are claiming they fell, they tripped, they bumped into something. But I'm going to just ask you guys very pointedly, how many people do you know in your lifetime that have actually gotten a black eye? Like, it's very hard to get. And I know I live in the country with really rough kids, and I rarely see somebody with what I would call an actual black eye. But listen to this.
On his face. 2023, he got in a motorcycle accident, and now 2024, he falls down a damn hill? Some people are speculating this is part of the Hollywood Illuminato. They say it's a black-eyed ritual. I don't know what it really means, but he does have a black eye. Watch here. Damn.
Poor face. Look at my eye. I said, well, the hill doesn't look that steep. Let me take a down. And then
November 2022, he was severely burned in a fire inside his garage.
It'll be fine. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, it'll heal up. It's weird because a couple weeks ago, Jay Leno says election day was fair and it was honest. After Trump wins, it was a great day for democracy. And now, as you can see, he got the damn black eye. It's weird.
I'm just asking because as I continue to study this, I realized that some people on X blew this off as conspiracy. Of course they did. But some said this is not a coincidence. Excuse me. Everyone has it on the same right eye. Yeah, this is obviously and on purpose, and there is no doubt a message of some sort that only the elite understand. It's publicly shown to let the proper party know who's in the club now. And I have to agree with that because you're talking about A-listers. You're talking about people who make more in one day than you and I make in an entire year. So they may be making 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, $150,000 a day. You're going to tell me that they couldn't cover that with a really good makeup artist or, something, anything, not to basically look like this? All the right eye? I mean, I'm not a huge conspiracy theorist. I'm really not. Like, I'm a very busy person. You know what I'm saying? I'm out there like growing food and trying. All my chickens are molting, so I'm changing their feed. I'm getting all into that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I make my own butter. I make my own apple cider. It's that time of year. I don't really have time to sit around and just assume when I see somebody with a right side of their face is blackened that they may be in some kind of elite club. But I have to ask because it is always on the right eye. P. Diddy, the Pope, several of the royal family. Should I just keep going on? Have you ever heard of frazzled drip? I have not. Hello, Great Britain. So let's keep going because it's going to get even more interesting. Now, some people on Twitter said it's from when they put the viral into the person's eye. They are no longer human. And I'm like, vril, or I say viral, but I think it's vril. It's VRIL. And I'm like, what are they talking about? And somebody said paristia vril, like parasites. So I'm like, oh, okay, parasite. So I typed that into my phone. And again, I'm blown stinking away. I found an article that says an artist discovered a parasitic worm in his eye, which he said guided his work. Guided his work. Look at that. See that? So 2018 article in Live Science. I'm sorry, guys. The weather's changing really bad here. It says, a painting called The Host by contemporary artist Ben Taylor is based on Taylor's experience with a parasitic worm that he found in his eye. Ugh. The eerie painting depicts an image few of us would want to see in the mirror, let alone casting a shadow across our own field of vision. Called The Host by contemporary artist Ben Taylor, the striking painting is based on Taylor's personal experience with a parasitic worm called LOA, so Loa Loa, which he discovered crawling through his eye one day in 2015. Adding to this strange tale, Taylor says he thinks the parasite influenced his artwork even before he was aware of the infection. He said 2 years before his diagnosis, Taylor, who lives in England, experienced a slew of mysterious symptoms, including high white blood cell counts, lumps that would appear and disappear, itchy skin patches, joint aches, severe eye pain, and sensitivity to light. Taylor said he felt a sense that amongst the millions of microscopic beings that form me, that there was something gate crashing the party. But every test they did for parasites came back negative. During this period of deteriorating health, Taylor began work on an abstract painting that consisted of intricate worm-like patterns inside a round circle. But at the time he painted it in 2014, Taylor was not satisfied with the result. I had no idea what compelled me to paint it or what it was trying to say. Talking about the painting. What was the painting trying to say to him? Months later, Taylor felt a persistent pain in his eye. When he looked in the mirror, he saw something wriggling under the surface of the eyeball. Ugh. He went to the hospital where an eye surgeon removed a 1.4 inch, 3.5 centimeter long worm from his eye. It comes from it says people get it when they're bitten by infected deer flies that are found in certain parts of West and Central Africa, according to the CDC. So here is my thing, everybody. I know some of you have seen these funguses and these parasitic infections that get into insects and make the insects do crazy things and then kill the insects and use their carcass. And this parasite got into his eye, and he's claiming that he drew a circle with lines through it, and it's because the worm basically made him, like took him over. I also did a video a while back that said, are parasites demonic? And so, because the way that they behave. And now I find out that these movie stars and people are walking around with black eyes, not just black eyes, the right eye, always blackened. And adrenochrome may be connected to that. And I'm just floored. Now, I read something here also on Twitter that says, it seems to me like it's a badge of honor. Most people would cover it up with makeup, right? Someone else said, I read on a peer review study, it was excess adrenochrome deposits. And it was funny because I responded back to that person on Twitter and I said, it's funny you said that. I just found a scientific report that says a black cornea is almost always an adrenochrome has been used in the eye for some period of time. So I had to share that with you guys, but you're going to have to read this, okay?
51 Jahre alt, als wäre nie gealtert, nicht wahr? Kate Moss, ein berühmtes Model, 30 Jahre, mit 41. Mein Gott, sie werden nicht älter. Sie achten ja auch sehr gut auf sich. Und Brad Pitt, der hübscheste Mann der Welt mit 42 Jahren und mit 51 Jahren, hat sich überhaupt
Look
nicht
right
verändert,
here on this
oder?
side, though.
Tom Cruise, Meryl Streep, alle so. Dabei haben sie wohl immer dies verwendet. Right.
Now that was
Name
somewhere
that
else, and I
man.
can't keep going or YouTube will kick me off. But basically, he's showing this child with double black eyes, and he's pointing to them, and he's kind of insinuating there may be some reason why they all look so young and have for so long.
We're going deep tonight, guys. Let's talk about the Black Eye Society. Black Eye Club refers to the growing number of celebrities, politicians, business elites, and heads of state that seem to suddenly and mysteriously have wound up with black eyes. Some people believe that when a celebrity gets a black eye, it is a mark that they've been inducted into a secret society such as the Illuminati. Some people even believe that the black eye is related to a life-extending surgery that is only available to the rich. All of these theories sound crazy until you see the oddly enormous amount of celebrities that have gotten this injury. You got Ariana Grande, Lady Gaga, Pope Francis, as well as the Pope that preceded Pope Francis. For real, how are you going to tell me that the Pope ended up with a black eye? Twice. You got Kanye, George Bush, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Prince Andrew, Prince Philip. There are countless more of these examples. Just recently on March 1st, 2021, it was reported that Mitt Romney got a black eye. Like, are black eyes really that common? I mean, I've never gotten one, and I know like 2 people who have.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I've had some serious injuries in my life, and I've yet to have a black eye like that. I mean, I did as a kid once, but I mean, just look at that. I'm just saying, okay, Ralph, thanks for being here, love. So I'm just saying, and I'm pointing this out to you guys, maybe Fight Club for the elites is a real thing, Eric said. Maybe so. Maybe so. I just want you to do your own research. I'd like to know what you guys think about the theory, because we are going to move into politics, folks, because I know all of you have heard this. Now, what I want to point this out. All the Democrat senators have something nasty to say about Matt Gaetz, but this one tears him up.
He was aware of reality.
He was aware of reality. Ha ha ha. And he walks off. I'm so sick of them. Look at their smug
The
looks.
first time President Trump was our president, it was 4 years that were never boring, and there were a lot of
Never
fast-moving
boring.
developments. I hope the president-elect will now consider nominating someone for attorney general who, by character, experience, and qualifications, can fulfill that role and be confirmed.
Are there people in that orbit that you think fit that bill? Is it someone like Todd Blanchard?
I don't know everyone who's in his
Whitaker? I mean, he's shown a propensity towards nominating firebrands. He's not shying away, obviously.
Look, I'm sorry. A number of the president-elect's nominees have faced some headwinds already.
Really?
I'm committed to meeting with and working through an appropriate confirmation process. Anyone nominated by the president-elect, but I think his confirmation process will move more quickly and be more successful if he nominates more confirmable candidates.
If he nominates
My
who we
Secretary
want
of
him
Defense
to.
Nominee, for example, last time got 98 votes. It's not the Democrats are determined to oppose his nominee, it's that his nominees need to be more confirmable.
You have
Thank you all very much.
though, right?
Correct.
Now, the next one is very, very good with what he says.
Is your comment about Matt?
I have to go vote, so I'm a terrible person. But I just heard that, so I don't know any details.
Your initial reaction.
Just yet.
Relief.
Relief. This is the best one. That's why I'm letting it keep going. Watch what he says.
That just issued a statement. He withdrew. I respect his decision. Appreciate him offering himself for service at that level. Now on to somebody else.
But, sir, we read this statement, but when you were talking with other colleagues on the Judiciary Committee from your party, did you get the sense that they were already going to be a no on him? Like,
No.
is that why he resigned?
No, I got the sense that the process was going to be challenging, and he made the decision. You need to ask him. So here's what I would say. The president nominated somebody. They chose to not go forward. Now he'll nominate somebody else. You know, all this interest about Republican nominees, I understand it, but where were most of y'all at when the Democrats were doing this? You know, there was an allegation of rape by a woman against President Biden, and here's what I said. That's not the guy I know. Nobody did this we sense that if you're a Republican, everything is true until you can prove yourself innocent. So as to Matt, he's withdrawn. Respect his service. As to what President Trump will do next, we will see. But I am committed to helping him where I can. I will not be a rubber stamp to his nominees, but I will also not engage in a angry mob mentality. Now, I have voted for almost everybody's nominees. And I can promise you, when a Democrat nominates somebody, I don't have this problem of walking down the hall with a microphone in my face. The double standard is atrocious, and it needs to stop.
I loved his response. I mean, he really didn't cut them any slack. He said, this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The double standards. And, you know, a lot of people just don't know this. They're so truly ignorant of American history. But did you guys realize that the Republican Party is the party that was the first party to have Black and women in office? We were the slave party, basically. We fought to free the slaves. We did, Republicans. We fought so that women would have the right to vote. That is the truth. Go do your research. You'll see it. And let me show you guys something else that I just recently found for y'all. Hold on. I was going to tell y'all about that. Oh, this one's so good. Watch.
Thank you.
She just became a U.S. citizen.
Thank you so much. And then South Korean intelligence will say, now, you're their responsibility. I'm sure FBI gonna protect you.
Sure.
So when they reached out to me to come give a speech, I was excited. I was finally they're gonna protect me. And then 2 days before my speech, the head of diversity calls me.
The head of diversity
Yeah.
at the FBI?
Yeah. And then
Great.
she said, like, we have to cancel your speech.
Yeah.
And why?
You're not diverse enough?
And then she's like, yeah, because of your political opinions. And this is so funny. And then in my American interview, citizenship interview, my interviewer asking me this exact question. Have you ever persecuted anybody for their political opinion? You know, if you said yes, you cannot become American.
But you can become FBI.
Exactly. Because people should be strict their American citizen right
Well,
now. I became American.
I just want to throw that out there. She became an American. Question she was asked: have you ever done this to, you know, gone after someone after the political views? If she would have said yes, they wouldn't have been allowing her to be an American. I'm just saying. Okay, so there's a new thing on YouTube called rubies. Gems? Have you guys seen that? Instead of like the super things or the super stickers, you can do gems. You can also give somebody a free subscription to the channel.
Receiving a gifted membership whilst on a live stream on your phone. The first thing you want to do is click on the join button. This will open up the membership page. You want to click on the kebab menu, also known as the 3-dot menu. You'll see some options open at the bottom. Click on gift settings. That will open up and you'll see an option to allow gifts on this channel. So you want to toggle that on, and then next time you're on a live stream and somebody gifts a membership, you're in the running to receive that 1 month free membership. Now, YouTube actually choose who receives the free membership, but you've got to be in it to win it. Subscribe for more.
I just thought I'd share that with you guys. I thought that was really cool. Okay, so I'm fixing to drop a poll down here, and I'm going to type it out. And you guys vote real fast. Now, this is what we just discussed. Is the black eye conspiracy real? And I want you guys to vote. I just dropped that in. At the end, I'll check back and see how many of you said yes, how many of you said no. I've already got votes going. Good job, guys. Please vote for that. Also, hit the like button if you just popped on. It really helps to push our videos out into the world. So that stupid gnat, this gnat's been here for like 4 days now. All right, folks, let's go and move along to
I'm
Squirrel
not going to
Tribe.
be nice about it because it's a really effed up situation. So let me explain exactly what happened yesterday. So one amazing thing happened yesterday. The piece of shit that murdered Laken Riley was found guilty on all charges and will now spend his entire life in jail. All right, that's a plus. We'll get into that a little bit later, though. But yesterday, Maxie Poo, I love you so much. But
Remember, I told y'all that.
Thank you. Yesterday on X, Joe Biden posted, y'all ready for this? He posted, today on Transgender Day of Remembrance, we mourn the transgender Americans whose lives were taken this year in horrific acts of violence. Every American deserves to be treated with dignity and live free from discrimination. Today, we recommit to building a country where everyone is afforded that promise. Now, I want to show this to you because this was 16 hours ago that the president posted this on the presidential X account. And before that, he posted about having the honor of awarding Cecile Richards the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Okay, posted that. And then before that, he posted about how it's been an honor of their lives to serve in the White House. And he puts his wife up there. Well, she was just on the screen. And then before that was on the 19th, where he talked about the G20. You know what he did not post about yesterday? The sentencing of the murderer of Laken Riley. He found that posting about Transgender Remembrance Day was more important than making a statement about how the illegal immigrant that came in under the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris watch administration, whatever, and was flown off taxpayer dollars into Georgia, was found guilty of murdering a woman at the University of Georgia after she fought for her lives for 18 minutes. He found it more important to talk about Transgender Remembrance Day than anything else. And I find that to be the most disrespectful slap in the face humanly possible to Laken Riley and her family. To sit there and say that there's literally a Transgender Remembrance Day. It's a whole day. November 20th was Transgender Remembrance Day for all the transgender people who have lost their lives. I'm sorry, where is the, Black Man Remembrance Day, White Woman Remembrance Day, Asian Man Remembrance Day, Hispanic Woman Remembrance Day? Why do transgenders get...
And let me ask you this question, because I am curious. Do you think that transgenders should have to tell you their sex if you go out with them? So say that Stephen and I meet somewhere. He asked me out. I believe that he is a biological man. We go on a date. We date for a few weeks, whatever. Eventually it leads to something more physical. And then I realize, ooh, hold up. You're not a man. And I get angry enough and flip out and do bodily harm to him and or go further with it. Is that a hate crime? I mean, what is that? Because I'm going to tell y'all now, they're talking about, hate for transgenders. But don't you guys think it's hateful of the transgender to hide what they really are? If you go purchase a Chihuahua and you pay money for a Chihuahua, and you go home and it grows up and it's a pit bull, you're going to be a little pissed off. Just saying. I'm just saying, folks. I'm just freaking saying. And I said freaking. And maybe I shouldn't have, but I didn't say the other word. Sorry. I'm saying because I would be furious. I would be furious. And I know people like my husband who would end up with somebody going to the hospital or the morgue if that happens. And I don't feel sorry for them when it backfires on them because you're lying. You are deceiving people to allow them. You expect everyone to play in your crazy land with you. And it's immoral and it's not right. That's exactly right, Madeline. She said, yes, transgenders should have to tell. It is one of the reasons they get attacked. And I totally agree. I have accidentally tripped onto lives and other people's TikToks and Instagrams and Twitters where I've heard transgenders say, I shouldn't have to tell you that I'm not a biological woman, that it's my right to hide it. No, it's not. No, it's not. It isn't. It is not your right to hide it. Miss Sanders said, what about the Red Shoe Club? I don't know about that. I'd have to look into it, love. So don't forget to vote in our poll, please. We're doing a poll. So I found this, and I hope you can see it. It is such an amazing cover. It's art that somebody drew. This was done in like 2012. But look at the detail. Do you see Obama right here? Look at the detail of this. See all the demons? It's crazy. It says pride on Obama's boat. And then it says envy down here by the elephant. And it's characters, and it's got bankers up here in the train with bags of money going into the mouth, and it says greed. Ruby says the Red Shoe Club and the Black Eye Club, they go hand in hand. I'll have to research. I only found out because I was looking into some stuff and ran across the Parasites, and I like to read. So then I made the connection to Stephen King. It just goes on and on. Look at this. This was an overseas magazine from 3 years ago. They're not hiding it. They're not hiding it. Absolutely not hiding it anymore. Also, let's talk about this right now. California's 45th congressional seat is now set to flip from Republican to Democrat after thousands of new ballots pour in. How in the heck are they still counting ballots in California, folks? Representative Michelle Steele had been leading by thousands of votes until today. And the Democrat challenger is now leading by 31 votes. There is no way. California is corrupt as hell. So basically, somebody says it's on Twitter, Democrats are allowed to keep counting until they win. This will never change until they get raided and thrown in prison. Who believes Donald Trump should authorize a federal election audit of California's results? And then Nick Sauter said, start the audits on day one. New scums going from the governor's mansion to federal prison. Pennsylvania is trying to do the same thing, and I had heard that. And their governor is complicit. Gates needs to open a federal investigation into Governor Shapiro. There's about Pennsylvania right there. Also, you guys ready for this? The Pentagon fails its 7th audit in a row, but says it's making progress. Wow. Wow, you guys. It's just mind-blowing. Also, I follow this young lady on YouTube. I can't remember her name, but some private investigators came to her, to where she used to live, looking for her, dealing with the P. Diddy tapes. And I'm going to play it for you. Please hit the like button so more people will know we're live.
And his connection to other celebrities on my show. Now, luckily, the person I used to live with called me on the phone so I could talk to these guys. They did not immediately disclose that they were private investigators. I had to coax that out of them through being quite hostile to them throughout the conversation. But they kept bringing up my content that I made in regard to P. Diddy and his connection to other celebrities. They would not say who they were working for and who had hired them to come and travel around to these different influencers. But they did say that they would be going to multiple influencers who are talking about these stories to figure out whether or not they're being paid by a specific entity to share them. Now, I am definitely not paid to talk about what I talk about on my channel, but they said not only would they pay me to disclose who I was being paid by, but they would pay me more than whatever I was getting to share the opposite story. I don't know who these guys were. I don't even know if they were telling the truth, but they did say there were 10 other influencers that they were going to be visiting. So I'm putting this out there in case this happens to anybody else. And I will be going more in depth as to what happened on my show today in case you want any further information. But this is very, very strange.
So they don't want the truth out. They'll do anything to keep it. Yes, Devin, Matt Gaetz is out. He will not be the attorney general. I'm not sure how you guys feel about it. Feel free to drop how you feel about it in comments. I also was sent the Russian president last night talking, and he basically said, you have to have $1 billion to run for president. So how can America consider itself a democracy or even a republic? How can we even say that we have fair elections when the only people that can run are the people that have backers? And when those backers put billions or millions and billions of dollars into your campaign fund, then they're going to expect you to toe the line of whatever it is they want passed. And I agree with him, but I want to let y'all hear a little bit from Putin.
Our relations with the United States of America will be re-established at a certain point in time, and we are open to that. Thank you. Thank you. From someone from here, yes, you mentioned Japan, I think.
Okay, so, that's right. I only got him saying that he is willing to go back into a relationship with us. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. That was live last night. Now, the last thing I want to share with you guys
I think
is
the
the
biggest
view.
common denominator in this election is people want a good life and ability to provide for their family. And whether we agree or not with Donald Trump's plans,
Black people
they
are
thought that he was
one of the
reflective.
poorest demographics in this country, but they voted for Kamala Harris.
But there was a split, and more of them voted for Donald Trump than had historically. I think that there's such a desire. If you really think the vast majority of this country voted because of racism and misogyny, you're missing it. Most of my family, a lot of my family doesn't have college
but
degrees.
The stats are the stats.
But that's not, it doesn't say I'm white, I voted for Donald Trump because of racism. That's not what stat. What stat are you talking about?
You can't dissect.
Yes, you can. There was a lot
Hold on. Calm down, everybody. Just.
And of course, Whoopi Goldberg, calm down, everybody, calm down. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Yes, you can separate the two. Okay, so when I think about why I voted from an economic standpoint. I voted from a constitutional standpoint. No, abortion was never even up to grabs for me, folks. And why is that? Because I know that the president can't do anything about what we, the people in Louisiana, vote for our abortion laws. It's not even up to him anymore. It's not up to the federal government at all. So I know that. Like, I'm educated to know that President Trump or VP Kamala Harris cannot do anything for or against abortion. So it was not a talking point for me. It was not something I wasted energy and or emotions on. I looked at their policies. And I have to say, Kamala Harris had no policies. And I haven't found anybody on the left that has Donald Trump hate syndrome. I haven't found any of them yet that can explain to me any qualities about VP Harris or policies that she had that were good. Like, they don't even know what she was standing for. I did hear Donald Trump is now talking about anybody that's retired will not ever have to pay income tax again. And I think that's amazing. And I think it needs to happen. All right, let's go over some of the comments I see going on over here. It says, Eric says, I didn't know Whoopi Goldberg could play such a great character, likable character on Star Trek, and then be so intolerable and vile in real life. I think that is the way for most of Hollywood's elites. If we really knew them in real life, we would simply hate them. You know what I'm saying? We would just like, oh, I can't deal with you. Yes, Renee, I am in total agreement. Thank you, God, that Putin is holding restraint and waiting on Donald Trump to come in. But understand me now. I know Biden didn't get on the phone and say, yeah, Zelensky, drop them bombs. I mean, I'm not dumb. Everybody knows Biden's got an ice cream cone in one hand and maybe a wig in the other, sniffing. We all know that. He's disgusting. Like, he was getting lost in the flipping jungle. Okay. So we all know that. But in the history books, it's going to be written Biden, Harris, right? Campaign. It's their administration doing this. So when I refer to Biden, I am actually referring to the umbrella of whomever is the wizard. Okay. So I do understand that. Somebody said the level of evil and design of wickedness has ramped up to levels so bad. It's like watching Lady Gaga black goo perfume or a commercial on X-Files episode of the black oil taking over. I do understand what you're saying. It's like everything's inky feeling. Governor Newsom of California passed a bill about 10 years ago that you can have 3 times what a person 10 years younger, it's a lesser crime. Okay, I can understand what you're trying to say there, love. Hopefully President Trump's playing 5D, right? Exactly, Jamie. I was fixing to make that point. Understand me when I tell you this. Putin is trying to restrain himself. He is waiting patiently for Donald Trump to get into office. But if they hit a city with one of those bombs and there are civilian casualties, the gloves are off. So you can say what you want, you can feel what you want, guys, but we all need to be very aware of the fact that we are so close to ending up in a situation that none of us are truly prepared for. And why is that? Because our government has a shadow government.
The question was, who really runs the country? And here's what she says. Oops, sorry, I forgot to put the sound on. So let me do a stop share and then share screen and share sound so you guys can hear this.
This is Blossom Inner Wellness on YouTube. Please go like and follow her. I met her in Maui. Wonderful woman.
Thank you, Tulsi, for telling the truth.
It is this cabal of, the Democrat elite, the woke warmongers, made up of the likes of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and, Tony Blinken and Jake Sullivan and, people who are in the military industrial complex, people who profit from us being in a constant state of war. It is those in the administrative state, the national security state, who derive more authorities and ability to take away our liberty when we are in a heightened state of crisis or war. It is their friends and billionaires and people in media who all derive their power from being able to have a figurehead that essentially they can control.
That's exactly. I have been waiting for a politician to say that. That's why when the presidential campaign, I was like, you guys, if they're not telling people that there is no president, the president does not run the country, and they're not telling people that it's the banking elite families and the military industrial complex that literally are pulling the strings, then they're in on it. So I was so glad to see Tulsi Gabbard share the truth about this country. And the guy, Chris, then asks her, when did this start? And she said, that basically there were bits and pieces of it for a very long time, but they don't know exactly when. In my belief, I feel that it started after the Civil War, because after the Civil War, the banking elite families had funded both sides of the war. So you have to understand, as these foreign bankers, the Rothschilds, they're the number one foreign banker. The first bankers in Europe were the Rothschilds. And they actually funded both sides of the Civil War. So they didn't care who lost because they were funding both sides. And when Civil War was over, the U.S. government was completely bankrupt. So what they did was they collateralized the United States of America. They collateralized our country as collateral to these foreign bankers. And they collateralized us, people, through the Maternity Act of 1930, I think it was 32 1932. I can't remember the exact date, but it was in the 30s for a birth certificate. And what that basically did was it created us people as a bond to the foreign bankers for our taxes. So when you pay taxes, you're not paying taxes. People think, oh, I'm funding the roads and I'm funding this. No, you're not. You're actually paying it to the principal, which will the whole banking. This is why we're trillions of dollars in debt, and we will never get out unless there's a jubilee that gets us back to zero, which hopefully there will be. But that is, I believe, the story of this country, and it is not the president that runs the country. Now Trump is in office. I'm excited about that, and I'm crossing my fingers because Tulsi's on his cabinet. So Tulsi's sharing the truth of who runs this country. Thank God. I'm really, really excited about that, and I've been waiting for that for somebody in political power to share the truth about this country. So now, what is Trump going to do? I'm looking forward to seeing this, and I hope that he also shares the truth about this country and has people understand that the mass media was against him this whole time because he's revealing the truth. I hope he reveals the truth like Tulsi did.
And that is really real, folks. I mean, my husband and I were watching a show the other day on Netflix, and he called me in there. He goes, Samantha, come look. It's Donald Trump. It was made in like 2003. And I went, oh my gosh, look how young he is. I said, Stephen, Donald Trump was the epitome of what everyone wanted to be 20 years ago. He runs for president and they all hate him. It's insanity. All right. Somebody asked a very pertinent question. They said, is it true that a sitting president is not removed during war? Nobody seems to give a crap about this, and it's really huge. What I can tell you is that even during the Civil War, they had presidential elections, and they swapped presidents in the middle of the Civil War, folks. Yeah, and then when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, they still went through the process. So there are things in place for wartime presidents. But I will do this. Let me see how I want to word it. We talked about research the other day, and I was telling you guys it's very important to be able to know how to word your questions, but to get the answer that you're wanting. If America goes into war, can we swap presidents or elect a new president? Let me see what it says, and I will share that with you guys. In the United States, the process for electing a president is governed by the Constitution and federal law. If America were to go to war, the existing president would remain in office unless they were removed through impeachment, resignation, or passed away. Elections for president are held every 4 years on election day, which is set by law. If a war was to break out, the scheduled election would still take place unless Congress decided to suspend it, which would be highly unusual and very controversial. In the case of an emergency such as war, the president may have enhanced powers, but the fundamental democratic process, including the election of a new president, which generally continues unless extraordinary circumstances warrants a change, will go ahead as normal. Yes, Matt Gaetz bowed out. Miss Briggs, he bowed out. Okay, so Hoppin had a very good question. Is a civil war different than a world war? Well, yes, civil war is a war with only between American citizens, between warring parties of American citizens on American soil. A world war would entail other countries and the war either happening on their soil or even here. Now, here's the thing. The law for war, the procedures for war are going to still be the same, whether it is a civil or a world war. Yes, I believe they probably blackmailed Gates. I really think that's probably why. And David said, but when has the establishment followed the Constitution or U.S. laws? More often than you think, David. Or you and I wouldn't be having this conversation right now. And I'm being very serious, guys. So, Eric, you're very welcome. This is how I feel about that, folks. I feel like we the people, unanimously had a huge red wave that swept across America. If they tried to install and keep Biden there and a World War III started, Americans would literally topple our own government. We just wouldn't put up with it. So I don't think we have anything to be concerned about. You're going to hear people trying to scare you with that, but that's probably one of the least things for you to put your energy on. Now, other countries are very different when it comes to war and elections. Like in the Philippines, the Philippine Constitution allows for postponement of elections during a state of emergency, but this requires them to give congressional approval. In Turkey, the president can call for early elections, and the parliament can also decide to postpone elections in times of national emergency. Israel, elections can be called at any time, and there have been instances where elections were held during periods of conflict. However, the security situation can influence voter turnout and campaign dynamics. In France, elections can be postponed in exceptional circumstances, such as during a state of emergency. However, the decision to delay an election would typically require a parliamentary vote. In the United States, as mentioned earlier, elections typically proceed as scheduled, but Congress has the authority to suspend them under extraordinary circumstances, though this is unprecedented. In other words, it's never happened, and it would likely lead to significant public backlash. Not to mention, we've already voted, folks. So really, President Trump is already taking the reins. All right, so Miss Beverly said, I've seen many say we may not have Christmas. Okay, so this is how I feel about this. I basically told y'all yesterday, Putin was angry, and he made a threat that before Christmas or on Christmas, they would bomb back, basically. But folks, do you understand that what Christmas is? Like, it's a celebration of the birth of Jesus at the wrong time of year, and it's been secularized. So my thing is this. I mean, in the middle of the Civil War, people still celebrated Christmas. In World War I and World War II, there were ceasefires on Christmas Eve, and the warring factions crossed across the battlefield to share a sip of whiskey or a cigarette, or they quit killing each other to exchange gifts on the battlefield on Christmas. Now, I know things have changed a lot, but I'm still telling you, like, why would you listen to anyone that goes, oh, you're not going to have Christmas? No Christmas for you. Folks, they had Christmas during the Great Depression. It's a day. So if we don't have Christmas, then does it mean that we're all dead? The world's over? Because that'd be the only way that you could not have Christmas. And I'm not picking on you, Miss Beverly. I'm just saying that those people really prey on people. They think it through when you hear a statement like that. Like, weigh it. We're not going to have Christmas. Come on now. You know how many billions of dollars companies make on Christmas? They'd stop fighting long enough to let the American people put themselves in debt. I promise. And then somebody said, let's see. Devin said, I hope we, as in Great Britain, get a new election next year. Had enough of these jokers we have at the moment. You guys are overrun with the Muslim nonsense over there, Devin. I feel so bad for you guys. Let me see. Okay, Kay Grace. All I'm going to tell you is this. There is the Constitution of the United States. Now, I know that people claim that we have 3 constitutions and, You can become a sovereign citizen and you never have to pay your taxes again. Folks, those people are as bad as the ones who are out there screaming that we are not going to have Christmas. I mean, like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going by the Constitution that my forefathers, and if I go to court, that's going to be the Constitution that allows me to win. Somebody said there was an ambulance at Mar-a-Lago earlier and it was a false alarm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Jim. Like, I mean, Christmas has been so secularized. And here's my thing. I celebrate Christmas as the birth of Jesus. That's, I don't even really give gifts. I give money to my kids and a few small things. I give money. You know, I help people pay their bills. That's how I do Christmas. Or I give useful gifts, things that I made myself. Good afternoon, Rainey. Okay, guys, so we've been here an hour. I love y'all with all my heart. Let's check our results on our poll. Let's see what the poll. All right, so is Black Eye Conspiracy real? There were 185 votes. 90% of you said yes. 9% of you said no. So I appreciate you guys voting. I appreciate your voice. It gives me an idea of which direction I should go. I will check into what the red shoe, the red shoe thing is. I will, because y'all said that goes hand in hand. Pray for America. Pray for Donald Trump. Oh, and if you guys did not know, I was threatened on Facebook. Yes, I woke up this morning to somebody threatening me, and it was not a joke. It was not a little threat. It was pretty bad, and I blasted them. So let me make this clear to anyone right now that may be watching me that doesn't like me or doesn't like my personal views. Understand me when I tell you this. I will, one, take everything to the police and I will put a report in, whether that's your real name or not. I'm still going to put a police report in. Two, I'm going to blast everything you say, the picture that you use and the name that you're using it under all over all my social media platforms so that the people that watch me can help protect me. Yes, hop and see I was threatened. Three, I just spent a tremendous amount of money to have my dogs trained for personal protection. I have fenced my yard in. My house is alarmed and you can't see it, but there are literally pow-pows all around me right now. There's one right there. So just so you know, I believe in the Second Amendment. Just saying. So this person came on and left me a message. His name was Jeff Barrett, B-A-R-E-T-T, Jeff Barrett. Obviously, that's not Jeff's picture. That is AI if I've ever seen one. I'll screenshot it a little bit more, though, in case anybody knows who this is. And the first question was asked a couple of weeks ago. I remember it coming through. They said, are all products organic? And I've got a generator that answers those types of questions. And it said, yes, we're excited about growing our food completely organic. Then this morning I wake up to, I have your address. I have your missing information. I think they were trying to say misinformation. I have your misinformation or your missing information on YouTube, and I'm fixing to sue you. All you do is scam widows out of their money, and that husband of yours needs to have that baby and lose that fat. You effed up with the wrong, W-O-N-G, wrong one here. Trump Antichrist, almost cursed, ASS licking B. Yeah. That's what it says right there. I didn't respond. I moved that to scam. I screenshotted it and I posted it all over YouTube. So understand me now. I got 240 pounds of dog and 30 off 6 with your name on it, friend. That's what I got. Aw, thanks, Fortnite family. I love you guys. So if you're on Facebook or you might, want to do a little digging, see, they only have like 11, I think it was 11 followers to this account, but it's been there since like 2020. So somebody during COVID, so that is their backup account that they hide behind. So if you guys, find any information about that person, please feel free to send it to me, friends, so I can get it to the police, but so that we can oust the real person behind the fake account. Because I really think that real person, their real name and their real face needs to be found. And I think that person needs to be blasted, because that's the one thing about this type of job that I really hate, is that people hide. They hide behind their phones. They hide behind screens. They hide behind AI. Yeah, I did, Heather. I turned all that into my police. The police in my community, I live in a very small, there's only 22,000 people in the entire parish, which is like a county for you. They know what I do for a living. This is not the first person that I've had to turn in. It probably won't be the last, but they know what I do. They all the time drive back here, especially at night, just to check on my home and everything. Oh, thank you, Jamie. I love my husband too. Who cares? He quit smoking. He quit drugs. He got a whittled belly. We're going back on the carnivore diet today. We just went and picked up like $300 in meat to put him back on carnivore, folks. But let me tell you something. Look, that man has loved me in all stages of my life, and I don't care. It's very hard to find, hop and see whoever this person is. They're very exactly, Fortnite family. Like, whoever you are, show your stinking face, what they want. And I'm guessing it's a woman. I just have that feeling. Women especially, they pull this usually more than men. Hey, Loki and Rosie, how are you? So I love you guys. Please, if you can find this person, find them for me. I'd like to say hi to Jeff. Yeah, I'd really like my husband too. I'm just saying, maybe I'll just let my sheriff say hi. He's a really cool dude, but he's super duper big and he likes me a lot because I helped get him elected. So see, it counts, folks, to be kind of in politics sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I helped him get elected in my small community. So he really likes me. The sheriff really, really likes me. Yeah. I can call him. I've got his phone number in my phone, like the sheriff's phone number, not to the sheriff's office, but to the sheriff. Yeah, on speed dial. So just saying, when I call 911, it counts. I love you guys so much. Y'all have a blessed night. Thank you so much for giving me 67 minutes of your time. I love you guys. Have a blessed night.